Imagine that you alone possess the secret to eternal life. You would live forever, never aging, perfect skin. You are the only one on earth who will never perish. Inevitably, you outlive your spouse, and after a period of grief and mourning, you meet someone new, have new children who could be contemporaries with your children and grandchildren from a prior marriage, from what at times feels like a prior life. You have the blessing, or maybe the curse, of watching your children grow up, grow old, and then, of course, pass away. In generation after generation of your children, you see the same patterns repeating, the same bushy eyebrows or receding hairlines, the same toothy smiles, senses of humor, proclivities for sweets or mac and cheese or your matzo ball soup. At times you are overcome with naches, with the deep pride of seeing your great-great-great-grandchildren become bar mitzvah, become doctors, lawyers, veterinarians, computer engineers, family men, and synagogue presidents. Other times, though, you feel pain and helpless despair, witnessing the anxiety and anger born from one generation's trauma or loss or substance abuse. And in son after father and daughter after mother, you see pain and toxicity ripple outward through the rifts. And in son after father and daughter after mother, you see pain and toxicity ripple outward through the rifts and ruptures in the rings of your family tree. One generation passing their sorrows on to the next. From this perch of eternal life, you grasp all the fragility, the beauty, the holiness of life that we finite mortals barely catch a glimpse of. Those of you who have read the magisterial book Eternal Life, whose premise I just laid out by one of the world's greatest living Jewish authors, Dara Horn, you've already encountered and considered these questions. How are we shaped by the people who raise us, who raised them? What does it mean to carry on the lessons and the legacy of those who came before us? And what is the meaning, what is the purpose of this fleeting fraction of a moment we are granted called life? In the days and weeks and years that we live, what will we teach? What will we give? What will we leave for the ones who come next? And finally, how do the souls who raised the people, who raised the people, who raised the people who raised us, the first ones with those bushy eyebrows or those toothy smiles and the taste for matzo ball soup, how do they live on through us? I was very lucky. I was very blessed to have many people to look up to as a child. But the people who had the biggest impact on me were my grandparents, Phyllis Levine Mimi, who is here with us today, and Sumner Levine, Papa of blessed memory. Every day from preschool until I started driving, Mimi and Papa would pick me up from school and take me to their house. And I carry with me so many things from those afternoons and evenings spent together. I remember how Sumner would often drop me off after school or soccer practice and then go straight to the hospital to visit people for our synagogue's volunteer caring committee. As a kid, I remember wondering how Papa felt in that hospital. And why would someone go to the hospital who didn't have to? Wasn't it scary in there? And now that I'm older, I know that was precisely Papa's point. In every hospital room lurks the precariousness of human life. It is scary. Papa wanted every person that he visited, whether they had a large family or no family, to know that their temple family cared for them. that they were not alone. And these days, though Papa has been gone for 10 years, whenever I walk the halls of a hospital, whenever I'm sitting next to the bed of someone in need of strength or healing, Papa is there, sitting next to me. He is a part of me. It is precisely his love, the love that he gave to me and to so many whose lives he touched. It is his love that I now get to share with others. That little piece of love, that little piece of yourself, of your soul, that every human being has the power to give to others. It's worth far more than rubies and gold. That piece of you, your full self, your best self, if you pass it on to the people you love, that part of you becomes eternal. I think of this often with my own daughter, Shoshi, who was named for her great-grandfather, my papa, Sumner. I wonder what I'm passing on to her. My bushy eyebrows, my hankering for mac and cheese or matzo ball soup. Right now she's only 2, or as she would insist, 2.5. But in the blink of an eye, she will become a bat mitzvah, a bride, a mother, a grandmother. I wonder what she will remember. Me holding her at night before bed, squeezing her with all of my love, all the love of Mimi and Papa and my parents and all who tucked them in at night, an embrace of generations. I wonder if she will remember the words we sing as I'm holding her. Shema Hashkivenu, sung in a quiet and peaceful bedroom in Memphis or in Utah. The same words recited in the shtetls of Europe, in concentration camps in Poland, in kibbutzim in Israel, and in the tunnels of Gaza. In each generation, we pass on our traditions, our teachings, our way of life. In doing so, we become one, not only with all the Jewish people around the world today, but with every Jew who has ever or will ever live. To be a Jew is to be a part of an eternal covenant, an eternal project, one that strives towards justice, service of God, and recognizing the sacredness of the brief moment of life we are granted. Each and every year, we renew our commitment to that project on this holy day. It is a day focused on our futures. Will we be written into the book of life? How will we turn closer to our true selves in 5786? But this day's message is also inextricably linked to the past. The Torah has 2 names for this holiday. The name Rosh HaShanah actually comes later. But the Torah calls today Yom HaZikaron, a day of remembrance, a day of memory. And the second, Yom Teruah, a day for sounding the shofar. The shofar's call, in the words of Rachel Goldberg Polin, is the sound of our ancestors. Its piercing cry harkens back to biblical times. You can't help but hear it and feel like you're in the Judean desert or in a walled city in Israel, standing next to Jews from millennia ago who heard that very same sound, a note that reverberates across the centuries. But it also reminds us of a more recent past. Since we only hear the shofar once a year, it necessarily asks, do you remember where you were the last time you heard it? Who were you sitting next to? Who was not here this year that was the last? Now, the Torah's other name for Rosh Hashanah, Yom HaZikaron, a day of remembrance. The shofar service Scott Edelman just led us in so beautifully is called Zichronot, or memories. This shofar section, this section of memories, is traditionally thought of not as a means to trigger our memories, but God's. It asks God to recall the memory and the merit of our ancestors. God, find favor, find mercy on us. For so great was the merit of Abraham, of Isaac, of Jacob, Sarah, Rebekah, Rachel, and Leah, of those who came before. Yet I have to imagine that from a God's eye view, much like the perspective of Dara Horn's immortal character, we and our ancestors appear not just as individuals, but as links in an eternally unfolding chain. As we ask God to remember for our sake who came before, for our sake, so must we. The shofar's call is a chance for us to recall how the ones who raised us are still a part of us, a chance to recenter their memory and their legacy in our minds as we choose who we want to be, what we want to leave behind in the year ahead. Yet for those of us with difficult family histories, whose recollections bring regret, remorse, and pain, Rosh Hashanah is not just a moment for renewal, but a chance for repair. This is a season in which we are called upon both to ask for forgiveness and to forgive. Some past misdeeds feel too harsh, too hard to forgive. Other times we are too stubborn or too wounded to let go of hurt that has calcified in our hearts over years or decades. I think about the families I know where someone has died with words left unsaid, apologies never offered. But Jewish tradition teaches that it is never too late for forgiveness, even from the grave. The Talmud teaches that by going to the grave of someone we have wronged, confessing and sincerely asking for forgiveness in the presence of 10 people, that we will be forgiven. All the more so, the repair happens if we choose to live differently, if we choose to break cycles that might otherwise continue. When we realize that, like each of us, our parents and grandparents were imperfect, shaped by their own unhealed wounds, their own limitations, perhaps we can begin to see them with the compassion that makes forgiveness possible. We can honor what they gave us while acknowledging what they could not. We can choose to heal what was broken, to give our children what we wish we had received, to transmit inherited pain into inherited wisdom. That is the blessing of being part of an eternal people. Every new child born, every year on Rosh Hashanah when we gather like this, it's another chance to break cycles that no longer serve us. We can't change what happened to us or what we've done, but we can change what happens next. We never know which of those changes, which acts of love or repair, might be the ones with cosmic significance. There's an ancient Jewish legend about the Lamed Vav Tzadikim. Lamed Vav meaning the number 36. 36 hidden righteous souls in every generation, because of whose merit God keeps the world going. Without any of these righteous souls, legend has it, the world would cease to exist. But the thing about these 36 Tzadikim is that we never know who they are, and neither do they. They might be the person visiting patients in the hospital, the parent breaking a cycle of trauma, the teacher transmitting wisdom, the volunteer passing on goodness, the child carrying forward a grandparent's name and values. The beautiful thing about this legend is that it reminds us that we never know which of our acts of righteousness, which moments of repair, which links we forge in the chain might be the ones that hold everything together. There's a story in the Talmud of a man named Honi who was walking down the road and encountered someone planting a carob tree. Honi asked the man, "Do you know how long this tree will take to bear fruit?" 70 years, answered the man. 70 years, Honi exclaimed. How do you know you'll still be around to enjoy its fruit? The man responded, I have enjoyed the fruit of carob trees all my days, since my forefathers planted them for me. Honi then sat down and he fell into a deep sleep that lasted 70 years. When he awoke, he saw a man standing there gathering fruit from this tree. And Honi asked, Are you the man who planted this tree? The Talmud concludes, I am his grandson. This is the essence of Lador Vador, from generation to generation. We don't plant carob trees or raise children or build communities because we'll be around to see the final result. We do it because we understand that we are links in a chain, responsible both to those who came before and to those who will be here long after we ourselves are gone. Gerahorn's immortal character learns this truth raising countless of her own children through 2,000 years of Jewish history. The Roman conquest of Jerusalem, the Crusades, pogroms, the Holocaust, and finally, the establishment of Israel. Holding in her memory all the joy, the pain, the life, she grasps what Papa understood in those hospital rooms, what I hope to pass to Shoshi when I hold her at night. That meaning comes not from the length of our days, but from the depth of our love. On this Rosh HaShanah, as we ask to be written in the book of life for another year, we're asking to be worthy participants in this eternal story, in this eternal people that stretches from Abraham and Sarah all the way to the great, great, great grandchildren that we will never meet and beyond. May this new year bring us the wisdom to embrace that sacred responsibility, whether as parents, mentors, or simply human beings that have a piece of ourselves to share. May it bring time spent planting trees whose fruit we may never eat, and the joy of knowing that in doing so, we may taste eternal life. Shana Tova Tikatevu. Happy New Year. May we all be written in the book of life.